Before I get locked up in a prison cell for stealing a millionaire's most heavily guarded secret, I'm going to share his blueprint to success with you. And I'm not just going to share this. At the end of this video, I will also give you a custom-made template of that exact blueprint so that you can start using it today. And the reason I'm giving this at the end is so that you watch the entire video, and that helps my algorithm go up and I get more views and probably more subscribers as well. So that's a selfish reason for me right there. But I didn't actually break into a millionaire's house and steal something from him. I don't even know why I need to explain this, but it's 2024. People get canceled left, right, and center. Everyone's super sensitive nowadays, so that was a joke. But anyways, what I'm about to share with you is not just one, but it's multiple millionaire secret to success. And the reason I know this is because I've actually been talking to a few millionaires, and I have 2 or 3 of them in my network. And I'll probably make a separate video on that. But all of these people that I talk to, all of these super rich, wealthy guys, they all use what I'm about to share with you in this video. And no, this super secret blueprint to success is not a new business model. It's not a new system or investment like Bitcoin or crypto or NFT, or it's not even a funnel. It's something so blatantly obvious that as soon as I share this, as soon as you know what it is, you're going to be like, yep, this won't work. And you're probably going to click off this video too. But I can promise you, all of these people that I've been talking to, they use this and it worked for them. So if it's working for them, if it's working for some super rich, wealthy people, it's probably going to work for us as well. Okay, enough of hyping it up. Let's actually get into it. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Saqib and I am a 22-year-old entrepreneur who is on a mission to retire his parents. And in that process, become the most successful, attractive, and confident version of himself. So if you want to follow my journey and watch me retire my parents, scroll down and click on the subscribe button. With that being said, onto the advice. I'm not going to take credit for this blueprint to success because this is something that I learned from my mentor, Charlie Morgan, who also learned from his mentor, Sam Ovens. So this video is me sharing this and passing the torch to you. There's no secret to success, right? Wrong. There is a secret. And this secret, this blueprint to success that all of these wealthy people use is they draw up exactly what they want their future to look like. And they also write down the exact character that they need to become in order to achieve that future. Do you want to know why they did this? It's because they know that the fastest way to achieve a goal or become successful is by changing your identity. They're not successful because they have the right business model or they have the right connections or they have super wealthy parents. The only reason that they are actually successful is because they know that the secret to success is changing your identity. What I mean by that is if you want to become successful, you need to first become he who can. You need to become the type of person who is actually capable of achieving your goals. Think about this. All those times that you and I set a million different goals, we didn't achieve a single one of them. And the reason for that is because we were simply not the person who was capable of achieving those goals. Whatever your goal is, let's say your goal is to make $10,000 per month, just for example. If you set that as a goal and you still have not been able to make that amount of money, the only reason you haven't been able to do that is because you're simply not the person who's capable of achieving that goal. Are you a person who makes $10,000 per month? What time does he wake up? And what time do you wake up? A person who makes $10,000 per month, how many hours does he work and how many hours do you work? If you see that there's a lot of difference in the habits of someone who makes $10,000 per month and you, then there's your answer. You are not the type of person who can make $10,000 per month, hence you have not been able to get to your goal. Similarly, whatever other goals you have, if you have not been able to achieve them, it's simply because you're not the type of person who can achieve that goal. This concept of changing your identity is super overlooked and no one really talks about this because it's not sexy. It's not sexy like the newest business model or some new investment like Bitcoin or crypto or whatever. And it's not a get rich quick scheme. This is something that you have to work on continuously to make sure you're actually hitting your goals. And again, like I said, no one really talks about this because it's not flashy, it's not sexy. And the reason I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this is because I'm speaking from personal experience here. A few months ago, back when I still used to run my advertising agency, for the longest time, I had a goal of making $10,000 per month. I used to do my outreach for 7, 8, 9 days. And after that, once I was gaining momentum, for whatever reason, on day 10 or 11, I used to stop. And then I used to fall off. I used to lose all my momentum. And I could never break past that 10K per month. Now that I look back, the reason I was struggling with that is because my identity was not of someone who can make $10,000 per month. And as a result, since that was not my identity, my actions didn't align with it. Let me give you another example. Think of someone who's a smoker. The reason most smokers find it super difficult to quit smoking is because that is exactly what their identity is. Their identity is that of a smoker. And when they're saying that they want to quit, they're reinforcing the belief that they're a smoker who's trying to quit. Whereas someone who is not a smoker will just be like, I'm not a smoker. That's what their identity is. They're not a smoker. So if someone who's a smoker is trying to quit, instead of saying I'm trying to quit smoking, because that's gonna reinforce the fact that they're a smoker who's trying to quit. So the next time someone offers them a cigarette or they want to smoke, they can just keep telling themselves, I'm not a smoker. And you might think that this will not work, but think of yourself as an example. I am assuming that you don't have a gambling addiction. If for whatever reason someone came up to you and be like, hey, do you want to go gamble? You're going to be like, no, because I'm not a gambler. Because that's who you are. That's your identity. You are not a gambler. So even if someone offers gambling to you, you're going to say no. Whereas someone who is addicted to gambling, someone whose identity is that of a gambler, if that person was asked if he wants to go and gamble, he's going to be like, yeah. And when he's trying to quit gambling, he's going to fail because that is his identity. I will give you another example to really drive this point home. Think of all the, like I've been seeing this all over YouTube recently. Think of all the kids who are struggling with nofap. The reason they struggle to keep their hands off of their is because that's what their identity is. That's who they are. They keep reinforcing the fact that they are on nofap. They're trying to quit jerking off. And the more they take that approach, the harder it is for them to quit because again, that is who they are. So instead of saying I'm trying to quit jerking off, they should just change their identity. I'm not someone who does that. Changing your identity is the fastest way to become successful, and it is the only secret to success. They know this very well. All three of the millionaires that I talked to, they heavily emphasize on the fact that identity is the one thing that is going to skyrocket your success. Human beings will fight tooth and nail to maintain their identity and their sense of self, and they will always revert back to their default setting. So whatever your default setting is, whatever your default identity is, if your identity is someone who is lazy, then it doesn't matter whatever goal you set, you want to get to 10K per month, 20K per month, whatever it is. It doesn't matter how many days you work consistently. If your identity is of someone who is lazy, you will eventually revert back to that state. It's all about identity. This is also why when a successful person loses all of their wealth, in a very short amount of time, they get everything back. Similarly, a person with a broke mindset, when he wins the lottery, in a few years' time, he eventually becomes broke again. Because again, human beings will always revert back to their default setting and their default identity. Do you see why I'm trying to hammer this point down? It's because whatever you want, everything that you want in life, it's all about changing your identity. Now you might be asking, how do you actually change your identity? You change your identity with two things, a vision board and something that I call an identity sheet. For the vision board, it's pretty self-explanatory. You first set the goal, you first set the vision, and you pretty much map it down in exact details. Once you have that, then you chase the character that you need to become in order to achieve that goal and that vision. The only reason you and I are not successful is because of our character and our identity. It's not because we don't have a goal. It's not because we don't have a vision. It's only because our identity and character is not of someone who can actually become successful. I drew up a future of what I want my life to look like, and I also wrote down the exact character I need to become in order to achieve that future. And if you've known me for a while, you know that everything that I'm telling you to do, I'm also doing it myself. On my vision board, I mapped out exactly what I want my life to look like. I mapped out where I want to live. I mapped out what I look like. I mapped out what my body looks like, what my partner looks like, what car that I drive, where I live, all that stuff. I mapped everything out. So the first step for you is to also do the same. Take a few minutes and in exact detail, write down where you want to live. Write down what you look like. Write down what your partner looks like, what car you drive, what watch you wear, how much money do you have. Write down everything that you want your life to look like in great detail. I know this sounds very woo-woo and like hippie spiritual stuff, and I thought it was BS at first, but I have been talking to millionaires who have done this when they were broke as well. So if they've been doing this, then I'm going to do the same thing as well. It's like the only reason you and I go to the gym and do the same, like let's say bench press or like pull-ups or something, is because we know those exact exercises are going to help us get jacked. It's going to help us make more muscle. It's because other people in the past have done it, they've gotten results, and now we know that if we do those, we're also going to become jacked. Similarly with this, other millionaires have done this already and they have gotten success. So if we do the same thing as well, our likelihood of becoming successful goes up significantly. It's like the saying goes, success leaves clues. So I don't really care if people think this is woo-woo or like some hippie spiritual stuff. I'm still going to be doing this. I still have my vision board. I still have my identity sheet. I'm going to be doing this because other successful people have done it and they've gotten results. Okay, once you have your vision board, once you know what you want your life to look like, the next step is creating your identity sheet. What you're going to do is you're going to take out a piece of paper and write down in great detail exactly the type of person you need to become in order to achieve the life that you have on your vision board. So ask yourself, who do you have to become in order to achieve the life that you have on your vision board? What time does that person wake up? How many hours does that person work? What are some of the other habits of that person? Does he work out a lot? Does he smoke? Does he indulge in a lot of bad habits? Does he gamble? Does he spend a lot more money than he makes? Does he have a shopping addiction? Does he jerk off like 24/7? Like, what does he do? Like, write down in great detail exactly the type of person you need to become in order to achieve the goal and vision that you have on your vision board. Once you have written everything down, do all of those stuff for the next 21 days. That is exactly how you change your identity. Whoever you are right now, whatever your identity is, whatever you're doing right now in terms of habits, if you change all of that and you start doing the habits of the person who is capable of achieving your goals, the person that you wrote down on your identity sheet, if you do that for 21 days, you're going to become a new person and your identity is going to officially change. It is okay if you miss a few days as long as majority of the time you're doing all the things that the person in your identity sheet is also doing. And when you have your identity sheet, read this first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Read this whenever you get a spare second. Read this when you're waiting in the line. Read this when you're in the bathroom or when you're commuting. Like, whenever you have a spare second, read your identity sheet. The more you read it, the more you're going to start associating yourself as that person. The more you're going to start adopting his habits, the more you're going to start adopting his mindset, his lifestyle, all of that stuff. And again, before you know it, you're going to become that person. I've studied a lot of successful people. I've also been talking to 2 or 3 millionaires, and I can tell you for a fact that every single one of those people, they all had a vision, an exact image of what they wanted their future to look like. And they also had an idea of the type of person they need to become in order to achieve that future. If you and I want to be successful, we have to create a vision of exactly where we want to go and what we want our life to look like. Once we know that, once we have the destination, then we need to customize our character like it's a video game, and we need to become the type of person who can achieve set goals. And we need to keep chasing that character every single day until we become him, until our identity changes. We can set all the goals we want, we can have all the systems, all the fancy stuff, but if our identity doesn't align with the goals that we have, we are never going to become successful. And again, like I said, I am speaking from personal experience. I have tried to get to my goal of 10K per month, but my identity was of someone who only worked for like 3-4 days and then he took 3-4 days off. My identity was not in alignment of my goals. And as a result, I wasted a lot of time. So go ahead, draw up your future, create your vision board, and write down your identity sheet. If you want a custom template of your vision board and your identity sheet, send me a DM on Instagram and I will send it over to you. And while you're at it, also follow my Instagram as well. I would really appreciate that. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, scroll down and click on the subscribe button. With that being said, I will see you in the next one.